Hello, friends, very good morning to all of you. Today, we are going to deal with the rest part of your lesson number 11, The Marriage Proposal by Anton Chekhov. Let's see what happened the next. Yes, the marriage proposal part 4. We will dealing with the remaining portion of your lesson. Let's see. Yes, Natalia, have you measured? Lomo, yes, he is alright at following, of course, but if you want to get hold of anything, he mentions that Squeezer is fine when it comes to simply following someone, but not at other things like grabbing something. Natalia, in the first place, our Squeezer is a thoroughbred, thoroughbred animal, the son of harness and chisels. While there is no getting at the pedigree of your dog at all, he is old and as ugly as a worn out cab horse. Now Natalia brags about her dog being a thoroughbred, the son of harness and chisels. She says that Gage, on the other hand, is old and ugly as a worn out cab horse. Now they are starting quarreling about their dog's ability, their pedigree. Okay, everyone wants to listen that my dog is better than yours, and this is how they are continue with this argument. Lomo. He is old, but I wouldn't take 5 squeezers for him. Why? How can you? Gaze is a dog. As for Squeezer, well, it's too funny to argue. Anybody you like has a dog as good as Squeezer. You may find them under every bush almost. 25 rubles would be a handsome price to pay for him. Now Lomo says that although his dog is old but is still any day better than Squeezer, to the extent that he won't exchange Gaze for 5 squeezers. He doesn't think of Squeezer as an extraordinary dog. He can be found almost under every bush, and that he is not worth more than 25 rubles. Now they are started accusing each other's dogs and their habits. He says that though my Gaze is older than Squeezer, but he is far more better than your Squeezer. I won't exchange. He won't exchange Gaze for 5 squeezers, and he can be found almost under every bush, and he is not worth more than 25 rubles. Natalia, there is some demon of contradiction in you today. Ivan Vaslovich, first you pretend that the meadows are yours. Now that Gaze is better than Squeezer. I don't like people who don't say what they mean, because you know perfectly well that Squeezer is 100 times better than your silly Gaze. Why do you want to say it? He isn't. Natalia feels that there is something wrong with Lomo's judgment. First, he falsely claimed Meadows to be his, and then he is saying that Gaze is better than Squeezer. She feels that he is out of his mind and does not mean what he is saying, which is a trait she absolutely dislikes. She doesn't get why he thinks his dog is better than Squeezer. And now she started blaming that what's wrong with you, Ivan Vaslovich. Today is something happened with you today with the very big in the very starting you start claiming that meadows belongs to you, and now you are trying to say that your Gaze is better than Squeezer, while he thinks that his dog is better than Squeezer. Means what happened to you? She feels that he is out of his mind. Lomo. I see, Natalia Stepanovna, that you consider me either blind or a fool. You must realize that Squeezer is overshot. Okay, now Lomo says that Natalia thinks he is either blind or foolish, but insists that her dog is overshot. Natalia, it's not true. Lomo, he is. Natalia, it's not true. Lomo, why shout, madam? Natalia, why talk rot? It's awful. It's time your gaze was shot and you compare with him. You compare him with Squeezer. They start fighting again. Natalia says that Lomo is talking rubbish. Gaze must be shot dead rather than being compared to the Squeezer. So now their argument is continue on the topic of their dog's ability and pedigree. Okay. Lomo, excuse me, I cannot continue this discussion. My heart is palpitating. Lomo mentions that he is unable to talk on the topic since his heart is pounding very fast. Natalia, I have noticed that those hunters argue most who know list. Natalia taunts Lomo and says that those who argue the most know the least. Lomo, madam, please be silent. My heart is going to pieces. Shut up. Lomo tells Natalia to stay quiet as he's not feeling well. So this is how the argument is going on. Okay. Natalia says that Lomo feels ill and he says that he won't be able to continue with this discussion, and though Natalia is continuing discuss the same thing, and Lomo asked her to be silent. Natalia, I shan't shut up until you acknowledge that Squeezer is 100 times better than your gaze. Now Natalia continues arguing and refuses to stop until he accepts that her dog Squeezer is better than his gaze. Lomo, 100 times worse. Be hanged to your Squeezer, his head, eyes, shoulder. Lomo exclaims that it could never be true and that her Squeezer is the worst. Natalia, there is no need to hang your silly. Natalia said, there says that Gaze is old and half dead. There is no need to hang your silly Gaze, he is half dead already. Lomo whips, shut up, my heart's bursting. He tells her to stop arguing again as his heart is palpitating. Natalia, I shan't shut up. Enter Shubkov. Natalia refused to be quiet. Shubkov, what's the matter now? Shubkov enters and asks the matter of their argument this time. Natalia, Papa, tell us truly, which is the better dog, our Squeezer or his Gaze? Natalia, just like the other time, asked Shubkov who is the better dog, knowing fully well his answer. Lomo, Stepan Stepanovich, I implore you to tell me just one thing. Is your Squeezer overshot or not? Yes or no? Now Lomo, on the other hand, asks him a more direct question, that he asks whether his Squeezer is an overshot or not. Shubko, and suppose he is, what does it matter? He is the best dog in the district for all that, and so on. Shubkov replies by saying that it does not matter even if Squeezer is an overshot because he is the best dog in the district. Lomo, but isn't my case better really now? Now Lomo, being unshakable about his opinion, still thinks Gaze is better than, asks Shubkov the same. Shubkov, Don't excite yourself, my precious one. Allow me. Your gaze certainly has his good points. He is purebred, firm on his feet, he is well sprung, ribs, and all that. He is purebred, firm on his feet, has well sprung ribs and all that. But my dear man, if you want to know the truth, that dog has two defects. He is old and he is short in the muzzle. Shubko mentions that although Shubkov mentions that although Gaze is certain good qualities, but he is also possess some defects. He is purebred, firm on his feet, has well spring ribs and all that. But on the other hand, he is old and short in muzzle. Lomo, excuse me, my heart. Let's take the fact. You will remember that that on the Marunsky hunt, my Gaze ran neck and neck with the count's dog, while your squeezer was left a hole was behind. Lomo refused to accept it and starts listening the fact. He begins by referring the Marunsky hunt where Gaze gave good competitions to the count's dog, but Squeezer was running far behind. Shipkoff. He got left behind because the count's viper hit him with his whip, and with good reason. Shipko clarifies that it happened because poor Squeezer got hit in his whip by the count's dog Lomo, and with good reason. The dogs are running after a fox when Squeezer goes and start worrying a ship. Lomo even mentions that the dogs were running after a fox, unlike Squeezer, who began troubling a ship. Shubkov. It's not true, my dear fellow. I am very liable to lose my temper, and so just because of that, let's stop arguing. You started because everybody is always jealous of everybody else's dog. Yes, we are all like that. You too, sir, aren't blameless. You no sooner begin with this, that, and the other, and all that. I remember everything. Shubkov refuses to agree and mentions that if they continue to argue, he may very easily lose his temper. Thus, he suggests on ending the heated discussion. He thinks that everybody is jealous of others' dog. Also, he is very well aware how Lomo will carry on the argument by pointing out stuff, but he too remembers everything. Now, Lomo, I remember too. Lomo exclaimed that even he remembered everything. Shubkov, teasing him, I remember too. What do you remember? Shubkov repeats in a teasing manner, I remember too, and then asks him what does he actually remember. Lomo, my heart, my foot's gone slip, I can't. He cries that his heart is pounding and foot has gone numb. Natalia teasing, my heart, what sort of hunter are you? You ought to go and lie on the kitchen oven and catch back beetles, not go after foxes, my heart. Natalia teases Lomo by telling about what kind of hunter he is too. He is who keeps on saying, my heart, he must catch black beetles, not foxes. Shubkov, yes, really. What sort of hunter are you anyway? You ought to sit at home with your palpitation and not go to tracking animals. You could go hunting, but you only go to argue with people and interfere with their dogs and so on. Let's change the subject in case I lose my temper. You are not a hunter at all anyway. Now Shubkovs agree with Natalia. He says that Lomo must sit at home with his palpitation. He must not go tracking animals, or rather, he could go and do what he is the best at. That is arguing whose dog is better. He again insists on dividing dividing the topic, or else he might lose his temper. So now this heating discussion is continued with them, and that is why Lomo suffering from palpitation, and Shubkov is now getting angry and frustrated. So he says that I know what sort of hunter you are. You have to sit at home with your palpitation. You won't be able to hunt anyone. Okay, and you can hunt only one thing, and that is you can do argumentation with this whose dog is better, and you are just better in interrupting in others matter, and you are go with your neighbors and try to insult them. Now please stop this topic or divide it, otherwise before I lose my temper. And this is how this continuous arguments are there. This is how they are blaming each other, playing this blame game, and this is how it will go continue. Let's see what happened next. I hope you get the idea. It's a very straightforward thing to understand. They are supposed to connect themselves for a purpose of gain money, respect, gain money, or some sort of prestige in society. Okay, so they are not in love, or they don't want to that. Everyone has own self purpose to marry with each other, and that is why we won't find affection and love in any kind of conversation. Okay, for that their ego is far better than the one another, because they are not still in love. They are doing, it's a kind of a mature agreement kind of thing, because Lomo is out of he is yet 35, and he has a problem of this palpitation and all, and Natalia is also not be able to find anyone in her life, so now he don't want to lose Lomo. Okay, so this is how they are going on. We hardly find any marriage proposal in this, rather than the quarreling. The quarreling is the similar thing. I hope you like it. We will complete our this lesson in a next video. Till then, have a good time ahead. Bye bye.